Good evening, good evening. Sonny Puzikas here with Let Us Attend, episode number, I believe it's 19 or something. John Kranz, how you doing, sir? So we shall start going here. As some of you aware, today initially we were planning to do a very controversial, kind of like a double feature thing together with Megan, with my wife, concerning things like Israel and Israel, uh, Zionism, Semitism, anti-Semitism, and those kind of things. Considering all the things that we wanted to talk about, we kind of looked a little bit through social media and their policies and limitations and on and on and on. So we decided that that episode we actually going to pre-record it, and then we're going to play it, but not on all channels, because I believe some of the social media platforms would probably deplatform me due to some of the things that we planning to talk about. So there's that. Uh, I hope those of you who haven't watched episodes 17 and 18, you'll find time to rewatch them. They're both pretty long. 17 is about hour 45 minutes, and that was with my dear friend Louis from Elcar Concepts, who, by the way, it's no longer a secret, is going to be moving here to Texas, to this area. So Louis is going to be in the vicinity where I'm at, and just keep your eyes peeled. A lot of great things coming up in that regard. And then episode 18 was with Super Dave Harrington, which was 2 hours filled with a whole lot of knowledge. And so I would encourage those of you who haven't seen it, if and when you find time or make time, replay those episodes. There's a lot of good information, a lot of things to think about and to reflect upon. So there's that. Today's episode is going to be a little bit unusual. I'm not going to cover some of the things, some of the normal things that I usually do on my Let Us Attend regular episodes. I'm not going to do like a book of the week today because I haven't had much time or opportunity to do much reading. It's been a pretty hectic, pretty busy time. This past Friday, actually, just before we did an episode with Super Dave Harrington, our old car, Toyota Avalon that we had, got totaled. Uh, Nobody got hurt. Well, I was just informed by my wife that I'm not streaming for some reason to Facebook, which is interesting. Let me see as to what the hell is going on here. And why is it not streaming? Let's see what's going to happen, if it's going to work. Give me a moment, folks. Let me see if that fixed the problem. It seems like it did. I should be streaming to Facebook now. So that is great. My dear, if you can take a look if it's going on Facebook, or let me know in the comments. So anyway, yeah, last Friday I was driving from Tyler, and yes, I am also streaming to Rumble. It should be live on Rumble. So I was driving from Tyler. The gentleman was driving a flatbed truck, and a few of the gas cans that he had on it that were not secured fell off his truck, and I wasn't able to avoid one of them because there was a vehicle in the lane right next to me, and it was one of those metal 5-gallon gas cans. Fortunately for me, and here's where the lesson is, it was filled with diesel and not with regular gasoline. So the can, I hit it with the front of the car, broke the bumper. It went under the vehicle, and basically my front end like came off the pavement, and I started sliding towards the side of the road. It was a pretty warm day, so air conditioner is blasting cold air. All of a sudden, it's blasting cold air together with uh, air conditioner fluid and diesel. And it only kind of registered with me a little bit later if this was gasoline. As I'm dragging that can, sparks flying from metal on the pavement. I probably would have been a little bit different color today if I was still around today, if this was not diesel but gasoline in that can. Anyway, it did a lot of damage for undercarriage, and obviously the radiator is gone, many other things, and being old, that we actually, this people and the car is getting totaled. So now I have to get another car for the family. So yeah, good times. Yeah, brush bars. Yeah, it's kind of hard to put it on the passenger. Little family sedan, especially older model. But we are planning to get a straight up lesbian vehicle, Subaru Outback, which does have a pretty decent clearance, especially the model that we're looking at. Obviously, we're going to be getting a used one. Uh, so yeah, those of you who want to make fun of me when I pull into a training facility that I'm a lesbian, I am. I only like women. I don't like men. Uh, because I will be driving that Subaru. Be my guest. Be my guest. Uh, yeah, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. So there is that. A few other things. Well, first I need to address before we move on to topics. Our sponsors, Ammo Supply Warehouse. Ammo Supply Warehouse has been our sponsor for quite some time now, actually over a month. And Butch, dear friend, student, uh, the guy who runs Ammo Supply Warehouse, again, not only a salesman of the fine freedom seats, but a long-time student, practitioner of what we do. Great fella, incredible service, good selection. Sometimes you can find pretty rare stuff. Uh, support, support them. They are good people. They do have warehouses in Pennsylvania and in Nevada, serving both East Coast and West Coast. If they don't have nothing on the West Coast warehouse, they'll ship it from the East Coast warehouse. Go to their website, ammosupplywarehouse.com. Show them some love, and there's that. Of course, the other sponsor is my dear wife with Ford Honey Badger body sprays. We have one for boys and one for girls. And it so happens I have them right here. 47 MAGA Orange body spray for men, unburdened by what has been. All natural body spray for men. Uh, Great. I'm using it myself. It's basically cedar wood with orange oil, lemon oil, grapefruit oil, bergamot, and red mandarin oil and vanilla fruit extract. Everything is natural. There are no chemicals in it. And then there is spice with a dash of nice for the ladies. And this one has, let's see if I can read it. It's hazel, cassia coconut extract. Well, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, it has cinnamon and Madagascar vanilla. Smells good. Ladies and gentlemen can get one of each. You can find them on my website. Sam, great question. Do you have body sprays for everyone else? I did ask Megan if she would want to make body sprays for another 64 genders. Her response looked something like this. So yeah, I think that answers your question. Yep, Josh the World, brilliant. Pepper spray for all other genders outside of men and women. The preferred flavor is pepper spray. Thank you, Josh. You always have great answers, great wisdom. Mikey Mike's Facebook for some reason wasn't working initially. I think my wife said that it is working now, so it should be going live on Facebook. Of course, I happen to do my live stream at the very same time as Gary Marr is doing his. So, but I had to postpone mine yesterday because there was a lot of stuff going on. I was so behind, I wasn't ready to do it yesterday. So there was that. All right, let us move on, shall we? A few things as far as training coming up. All of my range stuff. It's actually a good question coming off topic. Have you seen people use more naturopathic methods to actually cure things like diabetes? Yes, a lot. Uh, we, me and Megan actually took a pretty deep dive into some of these more holistic naturopathic approaches to health a number of years ago. And we've been to a number of different events with different people. And yeah, at this point in time, man, I'm as far as our what is being seen as a standard medicine. Uh, we we practically don't use any of it. Again, we don't necessarily have things like diabetes, not to the best of our knowledge, but there are people. Send me a message, man. Send me a message, and at the very least, I can direct you in some, in a good direction where you may find some answers as far as that goes. Okay, because again, talking about what modern medicine calls alternative medicine, which is actually kind of ass backwards, can also get you canned off of social media because of medical misinformation. A lot of people that are much bigger names than me got hit with that stuff. Uh, Even in my circles, people that been on the podcast with people like Jack Spurko and such, they said something like literally a couple of sentences, and they got medical misinformation strike on them on YouTube and on Facebook and shit like that. So that's something that's probably, at least for now, it's better left for private communications instead of doing it in the public setting on some of these social media platforms. But I appreciate the question. All right. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so the 24th of this month, we will have a first East Texas Sistema monthly workshop in Henderson, which is about 20-minute drive from Fort Honey Badger, where I'm at. We will be inside the building during the summer each month, so May, June, July, and then August we will have Sistema events in the indoor air-conditioned facility in Henderson. No, there will be no mats. We will be doing things on the hard floors. So the first one coming up is on the 24th. Is going to do something with tension, intent, intention. Then on, actually that's May 24th. June 21st is going to be the second gathering, Let Every Breath. And then July 12th, 13 is going to be a 2-day event, Systema Filling the Space. So you can go again to my website and sign up for those training events. And yeah, so that's going to be pretty much a monthly occurrence from now on. And then depending on how things progress, how things move from there, we'll see if we can make it a little bit more often or if we'll keep it monthly. And they will be from 9 to 2 p.m. So they're going to be multiple hour events, not just, hour and a half, 2 hour class. Each of them will have pretty much a singular topic that we're going to dig in depth and address. And then the one in July, the two day event is obviously going to be even more depth because it is a 2 day event. Again, you can go to sonnypuzikas.com and sign up for those classes. As far as other things training wise coming up before I move on to talk about things, I will be going to Pennsylvania, bringing my mayhem to Pennsylvania July 29th, 31st. Violence Uncensored 1. It's a 3 day Force on Force class in Scranton, Pennsylvania. If you haven't been to my Force on Force classes, you don't know what you're missing, but I will tell you you're missing a lot. So if you are planning to be at Tremis Dynamics annual muster, which will be immediately the weekend after I teach that Force on Force class in Scranton, the muster is a 2 day event, and then immediately after muster, I'm teaching a 2 day class in Carmel, Pennsylvania, and that's going to be the last class of the year for AK Knowledge class. Well, Tom Hollaby, there's nothing I can do about it. You flying in when you're flying in. So there is that. Prior to that, I will be in Ohio. And let me see if I have information on that here somewhere. I thought I did, but I can't find it for some reason, which is weird. Okay, anyway, you can go to my website the weekend prior to class in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So that will be, I believe that will be July. Yeah, I think it's going to be July 20th, something like that, that weekend. I will be in Ohio, in New London, Ohio, doing Shooter Fighter Matrix 2.5 Deep Penetration class. It's one of only two classes that I'm teaching, those classes, Deep Penetration classes, that I'm teaching this year. The other one will be here at Fort Honey Badger. And keep your eyes peeled tonight because I will post a relatively short but pretty intense clip that was mainly filmed from the material from 2.5 Deep Penetration class. You, when I say you need that class, I'm kind of underestimating what I'm saying. So again, you can find all that information on my website, including the East Texas Sistema classes that will be for now done Saturdays, if it's 1 day class monthly in Henderson, Texas, and some of them will be 2 day classes. So, with that being said, let us move on to a couple things about training. Last few classes I was teaching, we had some interesting discussion. Well, I do have to make a confession. I do think that overall, as far as, you know, if you can use such metric of average of what most students are in this field coming in to train, self-defense related firearms tactics, whatever. Uh, I do have a very, very, on the average, very, very intelligent people joining my classes. Not in the sense that they have necessary, university degrees and doctorate degrees and all that stuff, but their general intelligence is way, way above average. So, as a result of that, quite often we have very, very interesting debates and discussions. So, in the last few classes, we had little talk, and we deviated into something interesting. I'm sure most of you, even if you're not regularly training or whatnot, but somewhere in life you have heard what is often referred to as a Murphy's Law, right? Basically, it states or it implies that if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong at the worst possible time. So, from our perspective, if you are in the fight and it's a gunfight and rounds are flying, this will be one time where your most reliable gun will have a malfunction. And to me, it's interesting, because the mentality, and I'm not saying things cannot go wrong, but I don't think that external enemy, that external factor of some evil guy from Ireland or Scotland or whatever the hell he's supposed to be from, with the name of Murphy, I don't think that external element truly exists. And it may sound a little bit unusual when I say that, but I said that in the last few classes to students in front of me. And what I said to them was this: you are your own Murphy. 99% of the things that go wrong, absolute majority of factors that contributed to that thing going wrong were factors that came into being because of you. Not some external factors, not because somebody shoved their finger and caused a malfunction in your gun or whatever else happened, or, you slipped, right? When people say, well, my phone just dropped. No, your phone didn't drop. You dropped your phone. My coffee spilled. No, you spilled the coffee. If the coffee was sitting on the table and you hit the table, coffee didn't spill. You hit the table and that caused coffee to spill. You are the reason. So, when we say Murphy's Law, it becomes, I think, on the very often, on kind of subconscious level, it becomes almost like this cheap cop out that there are some external factors outside of our own control. And we blame things that went wrong on that external factor, that Murphy, instead of taking accountability and going like, well, here's what happened, and what caused that was this, 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 and that. And if you can name 10 things that caused it, 9.9 of those things are of your own doing. Could it be lack of physical conditioning? Yes. Could it be wrong biomechanics? Yes. Could it be wrong mindset? Yes. Could it be relying on certain magic technique that was not applicable at the time? Yes. Could it be actually making a mistake? Yes. So, here's my suggestion: remove Murphy's Law from your vocabulary, both in spoken language and what you use for the inner chatter inside your head. Mr. Murphy doesn't exist. You are that guy. You are that guy. You are Mr. Murphy. So you want to catch Mr. Murphy and punishing him for all the screw ups that have happened to you, you better start punishing yourself immediately and severely, because that's the culprit. You are the beginning and the end of all of absolute majority of your problems. You are. No, I'm not going into absolutes. I'm not going into certain, many other areas. There could be health issues that could be, you know, out of your control. But even with that, when you look at it, were there contributing factors that you were to a certain degree part in it? Not always, but in most cases, something is somewhere in there that you put your finger on it. And it had an effect, and it had consequences that came with it. So that's my little spiel for the training advice. And people go like, what do you mean this is training advice? I think it's very important training advice because, you know, pressing trigger, hitting paper, hitting steel, it's one thing, but understanding why you overlook certain areas of suck, why you don't address that which you know should be addressed, but you'll make excuses towards Murphy or whatnot, it's just drop it, because it just makes us weaker, because we're looking for that someone outside of us to blame for our shortcomings, for our misfortunes, right? Uh, we are the cause. We are the architects of our own greatness or misery. Okay? And again, I cannot say it in absolutes. I cannot. But we definitely biggest contributing factor. A lot of times when people say, I dated, 26 women and all of them sucked. They were this, and that. You go, with numbers like that, what is the common denominator in all of those 26 broken relationships? It's you. So, so there's that. If you guys have any questions, by all means, post it. Send it if you don't want to post it, and to the best of my ability, I'll try to answer. Oh, by the way, speaking of some things that will be coming up. Let me look at the dates here, but I do believe that on May 27th, so 13 days from now, Tuesday, May 27th, I will have another very special guest. And that special guest is no other than GN, Polo Rubio. Those of you who don't know who Polo Rubio is, you may want to look up. He was the guy behind some major success stories in the early, not the earliest, but, you know, Paulo Rubio is the guy that built up presence into social media and created a very strong name for people like Instructor Zero and many other currently very big recognizable names in the industry. Uh, Polo has been a practitioner of martial arts, mainly Filipino martial arts, for many years. So he's not per se outsider, and Polo has incredible eye for video. What needs to be seen, how to show it. His video work is absolutely second to none. It's freaking phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. But the interesting thing that happened with Paul over years, traveling all over the world, with Philippines, Australia, UK, everywhere, all over Europe, US, Canada, training with all kinds of people, big names, unknown people, grandmasters, grand poobahs of Filipino martial arts, and on and on and on. And because of being a pretty well-known guy, he had access to a lot of people that most of regular dudes would have a hard time to accessing those dudes, and especially to access them with ability to film, interview, and have discussions and actually acquire video materials of such discussions, and sometimes transforming those discussions into demonstrations and such and things of such nature, right? So again, Polo is he's going to be our guest here on the 27th of May, Tuesday. You don't want to miss that. We didn't have any long discussions what we're going to discuss, but I suggested a few things, and there's going to be controversial discussions. Things like Filipino martial arts, things like Russian Sistema, and all the bullshit claims about this and that. And there's likelihood that me and Polo will disagree on a number of things. We know a lot of people. We have a lot of common ground, so to speak, with people that we know over our long and illustrious careers in this field. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation with Polo. Polo is really a thinker. Even if I disagree with a number of things, people that are thinkers, I can have very wholesome, I believe, productive and beneficial discussion. And Paulo Rubio is definitely one of those guys, and I'm greatly looking forward to him being a guest here on May the 27th. Do not miss that episode, nor should you miss all others, because they're all good. That's a great question, man. When did you actually let me? I'm gonna pose this question on because on some platforms people will not be able to see this question, right? So, when did you in your journey start looking at combative training more from philosophical or mental perspectives as opposed to technical perspectives? Was there a pivotal phase? I wouldn't say, man, that it was like a pivotal phase, but I think my first inklings of that happened. Okay, so let me rewind a little bit. Okay, first of all, I actually wrote about it in the book that's gonna be released very soon. I know I'm behind the schedule, guys, but trust me, when you get it, you'll see why it's gonna be worth it. First of all, number of pages been added because I felt like I needed to expand on a few things, which made the book denser and fatter. Two, like you look at your work and you started the work, let's say a year ago, right? You write, you revisit, you write again, you revisit, you do little adjustments here and there, you start editing starts happening, sentence structure changes, you start looking, you start going like, oh, what's missing? This explanation is missing. I think this is unclear. You start adding and you start enhancing, you start purifying the material. So I think once that book comes out, and it will be very soon, guys, I promise you that it's going to be very soon. Uh, you will be happy. And I actually, as to your question, was there a pivotal phase? I do have a couple of stories that I share in that book. And the first one, I was too young and too dumb. The first one happened when I was very young. I was still in my teenage years. I was not a good boy. I was involved. I loved fighting. I was running with not necessarily the right crowds in former Soviet Union. And it was all fun and games until with your own eyes you observe, like this close, where you can smell it, where you smell the blood. When you observe a hand-to-hand fight, no weapons necessary, at least not, edged weapons or firearms. Maybe there's a stick, maybe there's a brick, maybe there's a rock, maybe there's a nunchucks, or chain, or something along those lines, or brass knuckles, which I've seen all of those plentiful. But when you palpably hear, feel, and almost air vibrates when people's bones break next to you, and I'm not talking a finger or a rib, you're talking skull, you're talking spine, you're talking things of that nature. When, without having any medical knowledge or skills, you realize very, very quickly that this, if the fellow will get fixed and not die, this will have lifelong effects on him, like neurological deficits. Like his life will not be wholesome till the day he dies from this one event, this one split second where things happened. And I was running with tough crowds, so you could not like talk about it. You go like, man, that kind of left an imprint here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're gonna go out there with your fellas 16, 17 year olds, wanna be gangsters in former Soviet Union, and address it with them, right? But in my head, I started reflecting on things, and then military and experiences there, and then seeing people die, people killed, seeing other things. So that journey started then. Was it pivotal? No, I don't think I had mental capacity nor enough insight, for the lack of a better term, to really dig deeper and examine it and to come to some kind of you know defining conclusions. I think it happened later, and I think the process really sped up. I would say the major speeding up of the process started happening about, I would say, 10 years, 12 years ago. And, you know, at first you kind of expect, I guess, that that's going to be like, like many other phases. It may last 6 months, a year, or whatnot. And then you kind of move on, and there's no, this phase kind of never went away, and it's just becoming deeper and deeper. And what I'm starting to notice, that the deeper you dig, the more consequential truths and facts you discover. And the other heavy part with it, man, is that the deeper you dig, you find things that are pretty much universal. They're not just, applicable to one person or one type of people across the board. And that's where it becomes kind of like, damn, you know, this is pretty serious. This is pretty damn fundamental. Uh, Sometimes it gets heavy, man. Like you start thinking about some stuff, and through reading, wise people from ages before us, of different from different ways of life. From the religious scholars to desert fathers, to warriors, to criminals, to philosophers, to psychologists. And sometimes to some person who used so much drugs that he was gone for half of his life, but then he had some revelations, both in his drug, induced coma, so to speak, and post. So I don't know, man. I'm really having a trip with this. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a great study of human nature and our traits and how we evolve and how weak we are and how many things we need to address to become more, to be more in the image of our Creator. So I really appreciate that question, man. It was a great question, and I hope I hope again. I couldn't give you like definitive answer of pivotal phase, but that's the best I can do. So I appreciate the question, my man. All right, so let us move on, because damn, we already been here for 40 minutes, haven't we? Whew, time flies. Let's see what I was gonna talk about. Boom! There we go. All right, current events. This is going to be interesting. So, tomorrow, I believe it's Thursday. So, tomorrow, uh, you know, Vladdy Daddy, Mr. Vladimir Putin, the president, or the dictator, as our media would say, of Russia, suggested direct talks in Istanbul, in Turkey, or Turkey, right? And tomorrow should be the day. The Orange Man Bad, Donald Trump, who is in the Middle East and was going to Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Qatar, he said that he may show up there as well. Zelensky said, that's the Ukrainian leader, that he's going to be there waiting for Putin. Putin simply said that we should have direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Uh, of course, Zelensky meets with brave and very, very bright and very peace-loving, democracy, freedom-loving people like Macron, the president of France, Keir Starmer, Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK, Mr. Merz, who's the new Chancellor of German government, and then Polish president. I believe that was it. I believe there was, yeah, and Mr. Zelensky. I know there's a lot of memes going on that supposedly Macron was sniffing coke while they were on the train while media walked in. I really don't care about it. I wasn't, was, I don't give a shit. What really matters is this, right? So they say, yep, before we talk and have direct negotiations, you, Vladdy Daddy, Mr. Putin, the dictator Putin, have to accept unconditional ceasefire. So basically, they say, well, we will do the peace negotiations with one condition. That condition being that you unconditionally accept our ultimatum. And then United Kingdom, France, Poland, and Germany, they threaten Russia that we're going to sanction you heavily. And then they say we're going to put round number 18 of sanctions. So 17 rounds of sanctions that they didn't do shit, nothing. But now they're going to put round number 18, right? And that's going to just force Putin's hand to immediately accept the unconditional ceasefire so he can start negotiations. Negotiations that he suggested they should have directly with Ukraine. You listen to that and you really start thinking, who are the people that want this war to continue? I'm really wondering. I mean, it's like imagine, right? So Russia now controls 20+% of what used to be Ukraine's territory, right? Crimea is gone. Most of the Donetsk area is gone. All of the Luhansk area is gone. 60 to 70% of Zaporozhye and Kherson areas are under Russian control. Through some heavy fighting and all that stuff, it may move a few kilometers here and there. But, places like Lugansk, Donetsk, Crimea, they are never, ever will become anything but part of Russia by military means. Not going to happen. It's simply impossible. Now, you can say, well, what if it goes nuclear? Well, then everything is moot point. Most of Europe is moot point at that point. And you're looking at these people and they're going to go like, yes, so there's, a few 100,000 Russian troops there on that territory that they have taken over the past 3 years, right? And we're going to put British, French, the coalition of the willing, NATO troops to control the demarcation line, the contact line between Russians and Ukrainians. I mean, like seriously, you don't have to. You don't have to be Von Clausewitz. You don't have to be any of the big strategies of warfare analyst or an expert. But you can certainly ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong, right? To me, it seems pretty simple. They want to put in few thousand, 10,000, 20,000 NATO troops, which is absolutely nothing in comparison to forces that Russia has. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing they can do. And they know it. But their idea is that if needed, if it serves their purpose, they can provoke a response of Russian military, and at that point they will try to invoke Article 5, drag the US into it with Russia. Our media, 90% of it, all of European media, most of those Western European NATO leaders, they screaming about it like, Trump betrayed this. Trump is trying to make the distance between possibility of World War III and where we stand. Do I like everything he says? Do I like his arrogance? No, no. Do I prefer that over demonstrated, it's showmanship from those four schmucks, the French, German, British, and Polish leaders that met with Zelensky there. It's showmanship, and it's not ignorance. It's actually intentionally trying to push it more to make this into Article 5 kind of situation, where the US would have to make a choice. Do we get involved directly against Russia on Russia's doorsteps? Again, ask yourself a question. What could fucking possibly go wrong? Right? So, watching that stuff is really like watching bad circus. And a lot of people probably thinking, are they stupid? They're not. They're not. They are doing things for the audience, but it's much more than that. This is not just a circus. This is not just a kabuki theater to try to trick you into something or whatnot. Okay? This is deliberate action. And again, ask yourself, what is that deliberate action can lead to? And you kind of go like, wait, why would anyone want this to escalate and potentially become a World War III? Why would anyone want that, right? We can have all kinds of conspiracy theories, I'll tell you that much. But now, Rich Elbert, it's very, very different from what it was in the 80s. Very different. Radically, fundamentally different. And sometimes you kind of go like, would this be going too far and too stupid to have a question? What if, just what if, certain elites in the world, they don't see World War III as the end of the world. They see that as the new beginning. Because many of them will not be on the surface when it becomes hot and bright and, the lights are very irradiating everything around them. No, they will be in relatively safe places underground with relatively substantial supplies of everything for them to survive there for years if needed. There are places around the world that can house altogether quite a few million of people. Now you go like, well, so that's like what, all billionaires and celebrities? No, no. Certain circles of people, which of course include those four schmucks. maybe few million of people that are 100% loyal to powers, that are very good at what they do, have the latest equipment and access to everything. What we call now, like, I don't know, police, something like that, but very high end, very high level. For any police or even militaries to control billions of people on the surface of the earth now, it's a tall order, man. Even if even if it's in the countries that people don't have easy access to firearms, or where firearms are banned, and on and on and on. Okay? Masses of people can do amazing things against significant law enforcement or even military powers. It's been proven throughout history. But now, you know, maybe you have, I don't know, maybe you have few hundred million left, maybe you have a billion left, but they scattered around, you know what I mean? They're almost like a Mad Maxi type of thing, right? Little enclaves here and here, a few hundred people there, 1,000 people there. Do you think those kind of enclaves would be easy to subjugate and control? I mean, sounds to me like pretty damn good plan. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Listening to those douchebags from some of those NATO countries talk, I don't wanna make a mistake and encourage others to make a mistake to simply writing it off as them being stupid. They are not. They are not stupid. They're far from stupid. They are very, very dangerous. And again, obviously, none of us, including myself, have a proof of it. But looking, if you're trending, what they say, what they're trying to push, what they're promoting, and what their policies are leading to, it kind of paints pretty clear picture. And you go like, this cannot be that evil. Who would want billions of people to evaporate? Those who want to control a lot less that are left. Yeah, indeed. Joseph Stalin said that quantity has quality all of itself. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So, really, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I didn't cover the health, I didn't cover the book of the week, I didn't cover a specific training tip. Uh, these are a few things that I wanted to talk about today, and so I did. Next Tuesday, it's going to be a regular event. As I said, me and Megan will record it at some point. I don't know when. The controversial episode about Israel Semitism, anti-Semitism, and all that stuff. There's some no Tom Halaby, no book of the week this week. With everything that was going on, there was not much reading going on, and I just didn't prepare that segment. So hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday. Again, hopefully I'm going to be able to do it because I may need to go out of state to pick up the vehicle that I need to get because our white car got totaled, as I mentioned at the beginning of today's live stream. Got totaled just before I was doing last Friday live stream with Super Dave Harrington. So that was that. And but I'll keep you updated. There will be a live stream next week. And then the week after, as I said, we're going to have Paulo Rubio on the 27th. I appreciate you all being here. Uh, go visit the website, take a look at the training, support our sponsors, support the good people that do good things. I will be making few announcements shortly about few other things, few other projects. In September, I will be going to Combat Arts Summit, and that's going to be at Taprack Ridge in Kentucky. I will be doing a little bit teaching, but the main thing I will be doing there is going to be a lecture. The lecture is going to be called Water You Need, Whiskey You Want. It's going to be a long lecture. It's going to be very heavy. It's going to be extremely unpleasant to most folks. But I think it's going to have things that you need to hear. So I will provide information. There will be a discount for all of my alumni and students to attend that event in Kentucky in September, Combat Arts Summit. All my other events are on my website that are publicly accessible and open to public. There are some other things that members of my Bratva group are aware of, and they will be happening. And there will be a few things being added to website relatively soon. So keep your eyes open. I appreciate you all being here. And check the YouTube and other social media within the next 30 minutes. I will be, as soon as I disconnect from here, I will be posting a short, pretty fun video clip to YouTube and then, Facebook's, Instagrams, and all that stuff. So check it out. It should be up very, very soon. Sonny Puzikas here with Let Us Attend episode 19, concluding from the woods of East Texas. And by the way, it was freaking hot here today. I think it hit like 94, 95 degrees. It was pretty damn warm. So I will see you next week for the episode number 20. And may God bless you all. Sonny Puzikas, out.